Hey everybody, this is LMP Games, and welcome back to another first impressions video. I said that the next one was going to be Demon Souls, but we're gonna preempt this one, and we'll do that one next. That'll be next the next episode. This episode, we're gonna play a new game called Lone Run. It's a new new roguelike that's come out that's fairly popular. It currently has mixed reviews on Steam, but it just came out this year. It seems like it's like almost like a green light game, kind of. And I don't really know much about it at all, actually, other than that's a roguelike type of game. I am a nut for roguelikes. Ever since I played... what was the first roguelike that I actually played? It might have been Pixel Junk Monsters. Technically, it's not a roguelike. It's a tower defense, but it has a lot of roguelike features in it. And... I think that's kind of what got me into it, right? Was that game. And then things like Rogue Legacy, Hades, obviously, and a bunch of other ones kind of really entrenched that into my kind of main genres of games. This says controller support, right? Yeah, good. Just making sure. So, I don't know much about this other than that. So, for what I would expect for roguelikes. Roguelikes live or die by their mechanics. So, game design is going to be a huge part of this. Of what I'm looking for this game. Sound, also, to a lesser extent. Story can or can't be. It depends. Like, you have really good roguelikes that are story bereft, like... Rogue Legacy. Or you have games like Hades that have just story out the arse that is really good story too, and a lot of it. And it's like a very extremely good game. So roguelikes can work with or without it, but the mechanics have to be good. That's the main thing, game mechanics. Everything else kind of, is some degree of meh and not really important, or can be important if it's part of the focus, but game mechanics are the main thing you have to get right. If you don't get that right, then no matter what you have on all the other stuff, it's going to be, probably no higher than a 6, because roguelikes that have bad mechanics are really bad. Really, really bad. So, let's go ahead and check this out and see what we got on our hands here. Super rare originals. Never heard of them before. They're having a survival competition. Who can score up the highest to win up to $750? That's interesting. It's an interesting way to get people to play our game. Have a competition for money. So we have Ruin and Survival. Run and Survival, we have normal and hard difficulty. It seems like, is it defaulted to hard normally? It's defaulted to hard, so be aware of that. That's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know why you would default it to hard for. So very basic stuff. It's actually running at 4K, so that's interesting. Damage numbers, we'll turn that on. Color grading, that's interesting. So there's like some actual, wow, okay, that's... some real stuff there. I don't care about that at the moment. Again, controls usually are leaderboards, medium, run. Interesting, okay. Well, let's just go. I think this is the main game mode, Run, so we'll check that out. We'll do survival too. We'll check both of them out. Usually, these games don't run very long unless... Well, Hades has like really long run times. It's not insane like Returnal, rather. Returnal has, like up to hours, if not multiple hours of runs. Time on runtime, multiple hours of runtime. Most roguelikes have like between, unless you get really far, like at the beginning it's like usually 15 to 30 minutes per run, if that. So let's have a look and see what we got here. So we got a castle or a tower of some kind. A moon behind it, maybe? Portal, potentially? I think our character is a female protagonist. Maybe an elf. Okay, so we have a thing here. It's dangerous to go alone. It's dangerous to go alone. Take one of these. Receive a spell, press A. So rail. Okay, so we have some interesting. We have a whole host of things to choose from. So pulse fires a burst of piercing projectiles. Free starting upgrade, bouncy 0 to 1. So projectiles bounce. Shards launches sharp crystalline pieces at a high rate. Pierce 0 to 2 goes straight through. Barrage, hold some projectiles that are released on release. That's interesting wording there. Should say are fired on release. Or something like that. Released on release is really weird. Scythe, slice enemies at close range. Rail, shoots a damaging rail. I think they mean it's like a particle beam or something, like a rail cannon kind of thing. Impact damage, 155 to 210. Increase the amount of damage done on impact. Boomerang, throw and then press again to recall. Chain lightning, fires a ball of lightning that bounces between enemies. Fireball. Well, okay, so certain one of these have upgrades, not all of them though. I think we're gonna go with Pulse. Oh, we have a dash. Okay, so you control where you're aiming with the right stick. Dashes on L2, attacks on R2. We have R1 and R. Left trigger, right trigger down there. The other two buttons don't have anything mapped to them yet. Double-edged sword or glowy ember. Let's go with double-edged sword. Okay, so we have like a progression map here. So it seems like control snap to a direction. You can't just move it and hold it. You have to like really be precise. Wonder what that was. Didn't stick around. So there's a cooldown on skills. This kind of feels like a top-down isometric Dead Cells in a way. Then adds more of like a Hades feel to the gameplay. Got that one on a bounce, nice. So we got a couple different resources. We got, I think, gold, and I think the red ones restore health. Not sure what that thing that went down there was. It might... Okay, so that damages you and you can fall off the edge. They don't tell you that. That was like, I guess that was like a treasure creature or something like that. So double-edged sword pickup. Increase damage both done and taken. Interesting. So we have, it's like a relic, I guess. So we can go up to 5 of those relics. It seems. Nova and Boomerangs. This is a new skill that we can use. Let's go with the Nova. Boomerang doesn't really impress me that much. Yeah, it drops a lot of gold, it seems. We're almost dead. Oh. We died. So we take a lot of damage. We got a bunch of different bonuses here, so... Where is information? Okay, so normal difficulty, Infected Gardens 3 reached. 193, I guess, is the number of seconds. Potentially. 55 currency collected, none spent, killed 59 enemies. 122 taken, 112, or 11,200 done. Okay. So that is a run. So how do we retain? The whole point of a roguelike is that you get some sort of progress that you retain, right? Okay, so different ones have... okay, so different abilities have been added, and different ones had different things on them now. There doesn't seem to be any... Like, it doesn't seem like we have retained anything from that run, though. We didn't unlock anything. Interesting. Maybe we didn't get far enough to unlock anything in Ankh. And what's this? There's no name on this thing. So that's a bug, I guess. We'll go for the nameless thing. It's possible we didn't go far enough to unlock anything, too. We didn't last that long. This takes a couple shots to take these guys out. At least some of them. Chain lightning seems to be a pretty good ability for early on here. Rip that heart. Fell off the map. So it's got a wave meter at the top right corner of the screen. Oh, it's a double, okay. So I'm guessing we have a choice of one or two of them here. Pull gold from further away, or interest on your money whenever you... So you get extra money whenever you enter a room. Probably based on the amount that you have, right? Let's go and take that one. That seems way... Or do we get both? Oh, I guess we can get both. So we'll take both. It's probably a bit more of a difficult room, though. Barrage and Fireball, we'll take Barrage. Okay, so beat that room. So on right button we have a new ability. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you can sum up a bunch of them and hold them. Okay, so you can't really use the lightning when there's no enemies, but I'm assuming we could probably use them both in conjunction at the same time. Oh, we can upgrade the gold magnet over there. So you can upgrade your relics. We're going to go to the shop, though. This is something new we need to check out. It's called the Blessing Shop. So you get a bunch of different... I guess they're called blessings, these things. Sharp Blood damages... damage increases lower HP. Ghost Flower. Longer invulnerability when hurt. Or Glowy Ember. Chance to let enemies on kill. We'll take that one. And there's nothing to stop you from buying all of those things. Got another. I wish it would tell you what the things are. It only shows you when you have one. So there's obviously upgrade to Chain Lightning and like a heart, so maybe an increase to your health, which we definitely need. You do not have that much health at all at the beginning here. Oh, we got a tower now. So this has a very limited range. Gonna take some damage there. So you don't have a jump, but you can fall off of edges. Whoa. Got a fairly powerful enemy there. Whoa, okay. So the enemies that explode can also kill you when they die. That's kind of annoying. It seems like a lot of the abilities have a double-edged nature to them. We got a bit further. So that's kind of cool. It definitely does seem like you don't really retain anything, though, which is kind of bullcrap. That's the whole point of a roguelike, is that you unlock stuff as you play through, right? That's like a staple of roguelikes and roguelites. Let's check out survival mode, and then I can kind of get an idea of what I might give this game. So we can pick one of these, I guess. Barrage seems really interesting, but it's very specifically used, you know. Fireball. Grab Pulse again. So we have to survive for a certain amount of time, I guess. Oh, so this does damage over time, it would seem. Return some HP, Pulse upgrade, Dash upgrade. Okay, so you level up. And when you level up, you get a choice of picking an ability. I haven't been using Dash at all. It feels like it's really dangerous to use that. Beef Heart. Yeah, increases max HP. Let's do that. I wish it was a gauge instead of this stupid heart thing. Like an actual gauge with numbers. This, like, heart meter is... like... I mean, unless you're playing a Zelda game, it's really old world sort of way of doing UI. It should be a meter with numbers on it. Nova Black Hole. Okay, that's a pretty good one. Probably was a huge... No, it doesn't have a huge cooldown time either. Actually, it kind of does. What you would expect from that. Or maybe I just have to hold it down to use it. There we go. So if the enemies have enough inertia, they can overcome the black hole. then we'll get permanently stuck in it. Which I kind of don't like, just because the you know, nature of that kind of ability is that you know, it would suck them in. Oh, we're gonna get an upgraded, okay, version of it. Cooldown, increase the radius. Well, it's with that time thing, because obviously we're not... Unstable rock. What does that even mean? We definitely need to heal at this point. We're getting pretty low in health. Way too many shooters. Yeah, time left 6. What does it do? Oh, 6 minutes, I think is what it means. That needs to be really well... That needs to be way more defined than that. Because that has... Just 6 means nothing to me. Usually, well, to me 6 means seconds, not minutes. Holy hell, how do we have so many of you? Ghost Flower, Golden Shield, the cost of gold, let's take a heal. I wonder what there's a time limit for. That's not what survival, that's a time trial mode. This is survival, it should be until you die. There shouldn't really be a time limit on it. Oh, we got the those guys that shoot all this stuff. These towers, yeah. Berserk. Barrier summons a massive ice wall. Also does damage, it seems. We can actually move those around, okay. This game gets very bullet helly. In this mode, anyway. I kind of wish I had chain lightning at the moment. Whoa. Oh, we're definitely gonna die here, I think. Something very drastic happens. Yeah. It lasted quite a while, though. Okay. I think I already have a rating for this game. It is just released, so I'm not going to be super hard on it, but there is very little content to this game. There is no, it's technically not even a roguelike. It's a dungeon crawler game. It doesn't have the necessary mechanics and components to make it a roguelike. So it already kind of isn't really a finished game. They're kind of billing it as a finished game. Game mechanics still feel okay. I mean, they do feel like they should. Aiming and firing is really... It feels really weird. There's like this weird resistance, right, when you're aiming and moving around the stick. Like the spot you're aiming at wants to move to specific points around the character, when it shouldn't do that. I should be able to move the stick to a place, like go with the stick, and the character should remain aimed at that location. It is, I don't know, it feels a lot more clunky and a lot more hard to control than, say, like Hades does. By a lot. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure why either. There's something weird with the game mechanics, like the movement and targeting mechanics, that just doesn't feel right. I hate and I think, well, this is more of the art, so we'll wait till the art part of it. The UI is part of the art stuff. The whole idea of like the loop of a roguelike that was there, like you get a certain item when you start, you get choices of paths to go to get different items. There's the whole kind of roulette part of it. You don't know what you're really going to get, and you get to build something that resembles a pretty good build as you go through the game. So that's there. There's 2 game modes. You get Ruin Run and Survival. Survival is basically a time trial mode. It shouldn't really be called Survival, because there's a timer that ticks down, and I'm assuming when you get to 0, that's the end of the mode. I don't know why else you would have the timer there for, other than to do that. And it also has a weird way that's like showing the time left by just saying 6 minutes or something like that. Ruin Run, you just go through a run. You don't retain anything as far as I can tell so far. I mean, from the very beginning, you should retain something from your run, just to show that you can do that and to get the player kind of interested in the game. If you're not unlocking something for the player the first run, no matter how far they get, they're going to, like me, drop this game pretty quick. We'll probably come back and play this later on when they actually finish the game, but I'm not going to be playing it anytime soon. For game mechanics, I'll give this a 5 out of 10. The core mechanics are there, but they're missing a hell of a lot. And there's other things that kind of feed into, from other categories back into here, that make it not so good. So 5 out of 10. Audio, and it's okay. Audio's okay. It fits the game. It's appropriate. The battle music's appropriate where it should be. One thing I also want to mention about the gameplay, it's a little bit too bullet hell. There's a lot of stuff going on the screen. You have the ability to do some things like dodge, but you only get one dodge, cools down, and at some point there's just too much on the screen to deal with. So that's also part of why it's fun. Back to audio. Audio's fine. There's nothing really wrong with it, as far as I can tell so far. Never really gotten to a boss in a Ruin Run, so I don't really know what the boss music sounds like, but from what I've heard so far, it's passable, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Art. So art style is interesting. They're going for a very low-res look to the game. Color palettes and such, they kind of lead you to the assumption, or they give you the idea that this is like an abandoned ruin of some kind, so that's good too. Now, as far as the UI goes, it should absolutely be a health meter, not a heart meter. This is not a Zelda game. This is a roguelike. We need to have numbers showing, not icons that mean absolutely jack shit. So to the player. So that should be a numbered gauge, not a series of hearts. Everything else looks fine aside from that. I don't really have any problems with that. So I'll give the art 6 out of 10. Story, so far there is absolutely no story that I can tell. Which is fine. Roguelites don't need to have a story. But since there isn't a story that is discernible at the moment, we can't really rate the story, so that's going to be an NA out of 10. Also, one thing to mention on the game mechanics, not going to change the rating I'm giving it, just something I forgot to mention. The fact that skills can be leveled up indefinitely, it seems, or at least to more than once, and given different abilities as they're leveled up, is pretty cool. That's something you don't normally see in a roguelite. Now, what'd be cool is if you kept those upgrades on every run or something, or at least a certain amount of the upgrades you put onto a skill. But that doesn't seem to be what happens. I'm not going to try hard mode, there's no reason to. Hard mode's just going to kill you. I can already tell, because you have so little health, enemies do so much damage. There's not many ways to dodge attacks. Hard mode is just going to kill you pretty quick. There's no real utility there. And without playing it, I'm going to assume there's nothing different about the game in hard mode, just that enemies do more damage and you have less health or take more damage. If you fight different enemies, they have different attack patterns or they do different things, good on them. I'm not going to try to find out though, because based on what I see in normal, there's no reason to do hard mode. So they got a lot of work to do. It has some potential, but I think it's more likely to go down than up on the next time I play it, if they don't bring this closer to a roguelite than what it seems to be now, which is more of just like an action-adventure dungeon-crawling game with some roguelite features. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. It's okay. There are definitely some places where it doesn't really meet the genre. There are some places where it absolutely does. There are areas that show a lot of potential. There are areas that show that they may not quite understand the design of how roguelites should be constructed. But I mean, it's their game. They can make it how they want to. It's just, if you're making a roguelite, people expect certain things when they hear that genre attached to it, and they don't have certain aspects yet. I'll definitely give them the benefit of the doubt, though, and I'll try this again at some point in the future, and we'll take a look and see if they've improved it or not. And then we'll update the first impression review score then. Until then, it's going to stay at a 5 out of 10. Shows some promise. Could easily slip lower, though, if they don't make some pretty big changes. It is pretty cheap. It's a pretty cheap game, though. At the moment, it's like, what, $12? Something like that. So, I mean, some people will say that for $12, this game is not worth it. It's an interesting concept. How much is a game worth, right? A lot of people say the game shouldn't be more than like $20, which is total bullcrap. They should absolutely be more. But like, what is a game worth versus your money? Is it worth buying? Like, what is the dollar to value, your value out of the game kind of thing? For me, it's usually dollar to hour. So a game like this, you're going to have a very low dollar or very high dollar to hour, because this game doesn't have that much content at present. So, and something like, say, Skyrim, you have a very low dollar to hour because there's so much content in it. You get a lot more for your money there. So, yeah, what you think about that kind of the idea of how that works for you? It's up to you. But that's how I look at the games that I play. It's based on the amount of time you have in them. That's how I look at if it's worth it or not. For a game like this, like if I was to make them release this game how it is now, I'd probably sell it for like about $5, to be honest. That's what I think it's about worth. It's about $5. So they're kind of charging over, but at the same time, I think they're also saying that you're paying this amount more than it's worth as like an investment in future development. They've already said they're like doing things. They really should have released this as a green light game, not as a actual released game. But it is what it is. 5 out of 10. Okay, I will see you guys for the next one, which will be Demon's Souls, and we'll talk more about that in that video. But until then, this is LMP Games, and I will catch you guys next time.